Hi Landon, I've chosen this particular clip for you. There are quite a few clips that are very similar, and I've come up with a couple of problems that you have in your surfing. Even though for a little kid your age you're ripping, mate, you really are. You should be very proud of yourself, and I'm really happy with your progress. There's a couple of things that you're doing a little bit wrong. One of them is you're not compressing your body, and therefore you're also not bending your front leg. If you don't bend your front leg and you keep it straight, it causes you a couple of things. One, to overbalance. And the other thing, it doesn't allow you to get deep enough in your cutbacks and snaps or off the top. So the other thing I want to talk to you about is the fact that often you're not finding the bottom and the top of the wave when you're surfing. So basically, we'll go back and we'll go through it, and we'll just have a look at a few things, and I'll stop where appropriate. So if I just look at here, for example, if I look at what you're doing there, is you're actually doing your bottom turn before you get to the bottom of the wave. So you've got a really nice bend in your body there, and that compression is what I'm talking about. Oh, that's what I want to see. Remember I talk about, I talk about the Z shape. Let's get rid of that for a second. But yeah, I just want to talk about, for you, if we're looking at that Z shape, that's the shape I want you in. But unfortunately, it's not often you're in that shape. Okay. So when I talk about the Z shape, that arm should be up a little bit more, and that gives you that Z shape. Now, what's happened here is if I look at where you actually are doing the bottom turn, you're doing the bottom turn here. Where you should be doing the bottom turn is around about here. Okay? So that is a problem. If you look at that, and we look at the distance there of that top to bottom of that wave, you've basically only used half the wave. So I need you to think about that. If I get rid of that for a second, and I think about you possibly, coming from here, going to the very bottom, then you could have driven up the top, and then you could have, got the board above the lip line, come back round. What would be about here by now, and you could bounce off that. That would have been the best opening maneuver you could have done. Alright, so think about that. So move along a little bit more, and if I look at here, can you see how straight your leg is? So what's happened is, one, remember I said I want you to use the top and the bottom of the wave. The top of the wave is about here somewhere, even though it's a little bit difficult to see on this particular angle, but that's about where it is, up here. Now you're doing a turn halfway along the wave, or half the height once again. If I take it and I look at that and I go, yeah, okay, there's the wave. You're about here somewhere. You're nowhere near the top of the wave when you're trying to do this turn. Okay? So that's where you are compared to where the top of the wave is. Have a think about that. The next thing is, let's look how straight your leg is. So your leg, and this is a common fault for you, your leg's out here. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to put all of your weight onto your back leg, and from your back foot you are trying to then pivot round like this. So you're trying to pivot the board around like that. The problem I have with that is that's a very hard thing to do most of the time. When you look at just about every other surfer, their leg will be, if they're using like that to pivot it round, okay? So their leg's going to be bent to pivot round. And what they've done by doing that is they've moved their weight forward, so they've bent over, they've moved their weight forward, and then that's allowed them to push their weight through their maneuver over their front knee and get their chest over their front knee to turn. So that's the compression I'm talking about. Move along a little bit further, and you can see that you don't go far enough back to the whitewater because of that. So that straight leg, which is another one, again, you've dropped your head because you know you've got to try and get, you've got a little bit of compression there. Okay. And now you're going to move along in that Z shape. You're just going to, move along there. That's fine. What you're doing there, you're actually generating speed by rising and falling. But once again, really, really straight leg. And the other thing is, if I just pause it there for a second and we go back a little bit, when you got the straight leg, the only way you're going to be able to maneuver your surfboard is to drop your head. Can you see that? So what you've done, you've had that straight leg, and now the only way to do it is to bring your body forward here. So your body's come forward and your head has come down looking down here. So there's this bend in your body from the hips, not the knees. So you need to bend your body from the knees rather than from your waist. Okay? It ends up giving you not the best of styles if you end up bending at the waist and not compressing from the knees. Something to think about. So finishing off here, once again, now you're going off the bottom a little bit. You should have gone straight at the top, but once again you're trying to turn before you reach the top, and you are using that straight leg. So they're the things to think about. Let's go over it again. Okay, so we want compress and bend your front leg and find the bottom and top of the wave. They're the two things I need you to do. Okay, if you can do that for me, you'll see a huge improvement in your surfing. Let's just take you back through it one more time and have a think what we spoke about. Straight front leg, find the bottom, find the top, don't bend at the waist, compress through your hips and your knees to get nice and tight. Once again, straight leg, having to drop your head to make sure you get over that turn. So some technical things to think about, which was really going to help your surfing. Hope that's helped, and I'll see you in the waves.